And now come back. Let us summarize yesterday's program. Yesterday I talked too much. Number one, thinking that it is essential for ice breaking. Look, at this age, how sharp my memory is. I came back to the first point. Number two, yesterday I talked too much, thinking that you won't initiate any talk. You won't initiate any talk. You write yes or no. Some of them may be right, some of them may be you won't initiate, you won't begin. 3, I believe that listening is the thing to begin with. Listening is the thing to begin with in learning a language. Number 4, you simply write 1 yes or no, 2 yes or no. You need not even copy this one. Just listen to me and write yes or no. You are fit right. Number 3, I thought that any new language, not language, any foreign language, any second language course should begin with a little listening. Number 4, natural language learning begins with listening. Natural language, Hindi, or in my case Malayalam, in your case Hindi, or something like that. Natural language learning begins with listening. Listening a lot. We start listening not after birth, even before birth. In our mother's womb, we start listening. How did I pronounce the word? Womb, tomb. Womb, tomb. Letter B, no, silent. See? So, right in the mother's womb, we started listening to the language spoken around. Okay, so that's how we are good at Hindi. I am good at Malayalam, right? Why am I not that good at Hindi as you are? I can manage with Hindi, but why am I not that good at Hindi as you are? I started listening to Hindi much later, when I was in class 5, and that too not that much of spoken Hindi. A little grammar and a little very small things, like my Hindi teacher didn't speak Hindi at all. No, only a little, like our English classes. So, exposure, right? Number 5, exposure to the new language is very important. Exposure to the new language is very important. If you think it was right, you write right, or you mark wrong. Exposure. Listening, most of you are going to take IELTS tests and so TOEFL tests and all those things. There also, again in future, for going almost for any courses, you will have to say get through any of these international courses of Cambridge University or etc. IELTS or say TOEFL or etc. For all these things, listening also is a component. Okay, online courses, and you know online courses and online test, the time will be 1 second or 1.5 seconds or maybe 2 seconds. Immediately comes the next question. Listening won't be repeated. Here I am repeating. Here you are very comfortable because I have been repeating slightly modified versions. But in an online test, TOEFL or say IELTS, anything else, no repetition. You get to tick mark only 1 second because the time taken for listening is almost the same time of speaking. Okay, I'll show you. I am going to speak something. Listen to me carefully. Okay, and based on that one, I am going to ask a few questions. Don't worry, I am not going to ask. Never. Okay, but imagine that you are in a tense exam hall taking an online test. What I want to demonstrate is that the time I am taking to speak, see, I am going to start, you are going to listen. I stopped, you stop listening. Do you need any more time to listen? No, immediately comes the answer A, B, C, D. C. This is going to be the test in listening. If you have to pass the listening test, you won't get additional time to think, because you get that 3 seconds which the speaker spoke. 3 seconds for listening. Then comes the answer A, B, C, D. Your answer is C. You put a tick mark. For that, exposure. If the test was in Hindi, if the same test was in Hindi, do you feel so uncomfortable? No, you feel more comfortable, because your listening is almost perfect. Need not be really perfect. Okay? There may be some trick in between. Exposure. At this point, let me deviate from that sense. The difference between Hindi and English in listening. When you listen to a program in Hindi by a good presenter on the TV. Yesterday on the way at the airport, I listened to Anupam Kher talking about something in recent politics. Excellent Hindi, which everyone can. So, in Indian languages, imagine this a sentence, a spoken sentence or even a written sentence. Most often, the crucial message, the most important message, the nuclear message appears somewhere in this part. When you speak Hindi, you try to translate this sentence into Hindi. I was a little shocked to know that, say, he did it to me. This short sentence, how do you translate into Hindi? I was a little shocked to know that, say, she did it to me. You translate into Hindi. I don't know exactly how it is going to be, but in the usual spoken Hindi, the crucial message is likely to appear in the end. Am I right or wrong? In the usual, don't make it artificial translation. When you speak the same message in Hindi or in any Indian languages, usually the message is likely to appear by at least the second half of the sentence. Mostly it is going to be in the last 1/4 of the sentence. If the sentence is divided into 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, the crucial message should be in Indian languages either here or mostly here. This is known as rhetoric. We are talking about rhetoric, the way a language is spoken or written. English has the crucial message. A well-written English paragraph, a well-written English sentence will have the most important crucial message in the first half or in the first quarter. Quite a few of you appeared for the entrance exam to get into engineering and medicine and all those things, I am sure. And unfortunately, you didn't get through, and then you opted for some other courses and you are here. Do you know why? Do you know why? I'll show you. How many of you, no, just out of my curiosity, how many of you took the entrance examination to medicine or say engineering statewide or say nationwide? Just raise your hands at least. Okay, 1 or 2. Oh, thank you. That's I'll show you. I'm not going to tell you why or how you didn't get it. I'll show you 2 students writing the entrance exam. Okay, both came from say, I mean, they had their higher secondary education. All of them did physics, chemistry, maths, and biology, and all those things. Usual thing. Let us even say that they came from the same school too, taught by the same teachers too. But one student was exposed to English from childhood, not by speaking at home. Nobody spoke English at home, but that child grew up reading a lot of English. Same school, same class. Okay, one child started growing from the very beginning, reading a lot of English stories, animal stories, and then fairy tales and detective stories, and now science fiction and all such things. Okay, by class 11, 12 means science fiction and all such things, right? The other child, intelligent equally, but exposure only to Hindi. Okay, the little English which the teacher gave in the classes. That's all. Both are sitting in the same room. Now you know the pattern of entrance examination. How many questions? 90 questions and 60 minutes, or say like that, around 100 questions and 90 minutes, like that. Sorry, something like, okay, something like that. Sorry. Look, first question in physics, number 1. Then you have this thing. Am I right? Okay. Look at this sentence. Candidates are tens, right? The Hindi medium student starts reading this question in physics. Okay, starts reading, reaches here, some lack of clarity, goes back once again, starts reading, and reading. Then thinks. Number 2. Starts reading, right. One candidate's performance. Look at the other candidate's performance for the same. I'm talking about reading speed. The child who grew up reading animal stories and fairy tales and say now reading science fiction and say big things outside physics, nothing to do with entrance exam, that student locates the key point here. The rest of the reading is only to make sure whether that is the right point or not. Quickly reads. Second, locate the point here. Just to check whether that is the point, quickly runs. No question of intelligence. Reading speed alone matters, nothing else. Unfortunately, no coaching centers in English promotes reading speed in English. 3 or 4 or 5 mothers are sitting at the back of the class. Their children also may be writing entrance exam, or they might have written exam, I am sure. But even they too perhaps didn't know why our students, though intelligent, especially from rural areas, though intelligent, cannot get through these types of hundreds and hundreds of examinations of opportunities in English. Examinations of opportunities in English. Banking Service Commission, Railway Service Commission, mining, geology, everything, all have questions in English. And mostly, I am not saying because Indians are setting English question papers for physics, and their English also is not that good. The physics professors, or say the chemistry professors, English also may not be that good. But if it is good English, somewhere in the first part of the statement will be the crucial statement. You got it. The rest of the reading is to make sure whether it is. Sometimes the focus may be on something else, but usually it could be. Only experience in reading and reading and reading and reading can solve this issue. The so-called coaching centers, if they set apart a little time for speed reading, detective, science fiction or something like that, their students would perform much better. This is the fact which nobody recognizes. And you remember in class 11 and 12, whenever a teacher was on leave, who used to rush your class? Imagine the social science teacher or the Hindi teacher was on leave. Hindi was there in 11 and 12? Okay. If the Hindi teacher was on leave, who used to rush to your class? Physics, maths, chemistry. Okay? Did the English teacher ever appear in untimely? No. Even if the English teacher wants to have a class, she was not given. The chemistry teacher or the maths teacher or the physics teacher dominated, thinking that a little more injection of physics and chemistry and biology into these. If that poor English teacher were given 1 extra hour, 2 extra hours, through her stories or literature or whatever it may be, you would get a little more English. Even here at IPS also, this may be the case. Don't ignore language. Don't ignore English. English is the language of opportunities. It is not the physics, it is not the biology, it is not the chemistry or maths that decides your entry into a job. Mainly it is English, and that through reading. Here writing is very little, no writing at all. Later, at the next stage, IAS. At the preliminary examination, it is your reading and writing. How fast can you read and compare 2 texts, 1 page? And how good is your organization, writing? That decides your entry into the preliminary. Then in the final stage, speaking skills, soft skills. Last stage, civil service exam, speaking skills and soft skills. Your manners and appearance and your confidence on your face, your body language, your gestures, whether you indulge in unnecessary body language or not, all these things matter at the final interview. So, look, I told you about your higher education and career. For another almost 75 or 100 years, English is going to stay. There was a time at the second generation of computer knowledge in India, there was a time Sanskrit stood a chance to get into computer, a better chance than English. There was a time, I think it was in the early 1980s or 90s, there was a wave in favor of Sanskrit getting into computer. But anyway, now Sanskrit is out. So similarly, in another 50 or 75 years, maybe Chinese Mandarin or say Hindi, we don't know. As far as you and your children, English is going to stay. And next point, quite a few of us teachers, both schools and in colleges and universities, somehow propagate a wrong notion, a terribly wrong notion that one must be intelligent to learn English. This is a totally wrong notion. No need of any intelligence to learn a language, be it Sanskrit or English or Arabic or Chinese. Normal human being and his or her normal intelligence. We have the housekeeping staff here, quite a few. Let them bring their small school-going children to IPS classroom. Okay? Let us select one of the best batches from IPS school also in another room. Okay? And I am going to take care of their English in both classes. Okay? Here in the forenoon, there in the afternoon, next day there in the forenoon, and here in the afternoon. I will be teaching the same thing, I will be doing the same exercises, I will be giving the same worksheets and online, everything. These housekeeping staff's children will be equally performing in English, equal to that children. About their physics or chemistry or maths, I have no guarantee, because these are located in another part of the brain. Language and arts are located in the other part of the brain, which I take care of. For physics and chemistry and maths, I cannot insist, okay, this is my elder daughter, this is my younger daughter. Okay, she is really good at maths, and I always called her, why are you not good at maths? Look at your elder sister, she is really good at maths. Why are you? No, it's not possible. My own children, my own genes, but still intelligence matters. She is good at Bharatanatyam or Kuchipudi, music. She, as a girl, she has interest, but she is not very much interested in these arts, whereas she is. My own two children. For maths especially, you are all going to be parents. Okay, this shouldn't happen. Had I been on a teacher training program, I always said, never compare your children. Never compare your children with the neighbor's children, with your uncle's or auntie's children. Never compare your own children. Right now I did it, no, it was wrong. My own children, never should I do. That will spoil the relationship among them. Later she is going to take care of her. She is going to take care of her. When I keep on, as a father, when I keep on comparing them, jealousy, envy, later they become enemies. Who made them enemies? Who made them enemies? Never compare in future your children with others' children, between your own children either. A very gross mistake. Okay, so chemistry, physics, maths, computer science and all those things need a little higher order intelligence. Sanskrit, Hindi, any second language, foreign language, Indian languages, no need of any particular intelligence, just human intelligence. Quite a few people, quite a few teachers also propagate. Back in village schools, they may curse. You can't, you won't, because you are coming from, you can't, forget about your English. That child gets dispirited. No. English, Malayalam, Hindi, Sanskrit, Arabic, all these are for all. Only crucial exposure. So, now you cannot wait for somebody to provide you exposure. That time is over. Now I am giving a little exposure to my 2-year-old. After giving initial exposure to my elder grandson, for the first 3 or 4 years, I left him. Now he is with his parents, reading the greatest classics in English. He is in class 9. He started reading Russian literature. Russian names are very difficult to pronounce. He asked me, the book he got from my own collection. He asked me how to pronounce. I have no idea. I pronounce it the English way. Pronouncing a Russian name the English way is not at all correct. Then, during the pandemic, he joined a Russian course online, basic, and then he started pronouncing and he started reading Russian classics, Dostoevsky, etc., in English. I am not talking about my children, but what I tell you is that initially we showed them books, gave them books, they started reading. We never speak English at home. Never, never, never. Exclusively Malayalam. I sent both of my children to Malayalam medium schools. Never sent to English medium schools. They heard a little good English only after class 12. Up to class 12, it was the local Malayalam teacher teaching English. That too. Now, that elder one is excellent in English. Now, my 2-year-old, we are taking care of the younger one. In another 2 years, we are leaving him. We will be going back to our place. They will be managing on there. But the basic foundation will be provided by the age of 4. Enough. The rest, books will be there. They will grow. For you at this stage, some of you are good at English, I know. Some of you are really good at English. Some of you are not. A lack of confidence. Now, who is there to provide confidence to you? Smartphone. Smartphone and TV. Please, later at the age of 35 or 40, not very satisfied with the job and income. At that time, you may be sitting like this. To avoid that one, watch one English film every day. Watch one English film every day. ₹50,000 for a TOEFL or IELTS exam or say some spoken English course, etc. Don't waste it. Just watch one good English film a day. One small program on TV, either National Geographic or Discovery Channel or things like that. We teachers will be only giving the guidance, no need of providing you with English. Please do think of it. These two, one film, one of the channels with good English. Okay, now coming back. So, my yesterday 4 hours, today almost 2 hours. I gave you a little exposure to not very good English, but manageable English. And my aim was, number 1, this one, right. Number 2, this one, to begin with. Number 3, I needed an ice breaking. That's why I yesterday used Hindi films. If anyone was wondering why those Hindi films were played, what could be the purpose? I asked you a question. The message was just this one. For communication, you need only 1 or 2 crucial word or phrases. Yesterday, after making you listen, I asked a question. Which word led you to that song? Promise. Kya hua? Vada. You made a matchmaking in your mind between the word promise and the Hindi equivalent, Vada. right? That's why I specially chose such things. In all such tests, there was one nuclear word, okay? मेरे सामने वाले खिड़की में, right? A चांद का टुकड़ा was the crucial phrase. It is that crucial phrase which led you to the other word. Not right in front of my window. No, no, no. Right in front of the window, you didn't get anything. There lies a beautiful, say, crescent. That crescent got you to that English. For communicating, we need the words and phrases denoting the crucial message. In the entrance exam, that crucial word appeared in English here or here, here. Had the question paper been in Hindi or Malayalam, that crucial word may be appearing here or here or here. So your reading of stories, novels, love stories, romances, especially detective fiction, a very good reading thing, it will keep on. It is from my experience as a teacher and as a parent and grandparent. I told you, my daughter's English is far better than me. My grandson's daughter is far superior to mine. Reason, TV came to my life when I was 40 or so. It came to my daughter's life at the age of 10. Number one, at that time, usually Indians didn't allow children to, especially girl children, to watch English films because we had a notion that English films were full of sex. English film means sex. No Indian parent allowed children to watch English films. I knew very well that more sexy and vulgar films were in Indian films, in India, not in English. Those days, 1960s, only Doordarshan, no other channel, only Doordarshan. Doordarshan used to telecast English films at 11:30 at night. My wife and I used to go to bed around that time, or 12 o'clock. My daughter would be watching that dirty English films. We knew there was nothing dirty in it. Excellent English films. The difference is that dress habits and all those things, I am talking about the 1960s, dress habits and all those things were not that accommodating in India at that time. Now it is quite accommodating. Now you girls walk in shorts on the campus, right? Is there any problem? At that time in the 1960s, a girl appeared on the screen in shorts. It was a shock to India. Now it is not a shock, not only in film, but we ourselves, parents ourselves, buy shorts for children. That's all. That permission to my girl child to watch English films at that age gave her better English than I do have, because my English I got through reading and reading and reading. She got it directly from the English person. So my grandson also same. Now the 2-year-old is watching cartoon films. He is interested in Fire Force and all those things. He even changed his name. His name is Manav. Now he has changed his name into an English name, Sam. Sam is a character, a fireman. He is always acting as fireman, climbing the ladder and say putting out the fire and all. He uses the word put out the fire. 2 years old. We never teach any English. So please do. Otherwise, at the age of 35, got married, still not very satisfied with your job and say economic, financial security, then it will be very difficult to manage. higher order things like your content subject, management or say business or say physics or chemistry, you can master later also. But improving the skills, just imagine you walk to your boss's cabin. Your boss's cabin is there. You go with either your say smartphone or a laptop or a printout, and you enter the cabin of your boss. Some stranger also is sitting there, maybe I or somewhere else is there. And he immediately asks, yes, please come. And you open the half door and you give that sheet of paper to your boss. And he looks, okay, I'll call you later, a little later. And you come back to your, say, cabin. While reaching your cabin, you hear a small laughter in the cabin. In the boss's cabin. He is holding that paper in front of him. And the guest is not laughing, but the boss has made some comment and he is laughing. This is what you hear when you enter your small cabin. Would you like to have this situation in your career? Your boss is commenting on the English which you gave to. Look, this is the language of my staff. I don't know what exactly the message. How can I spend time on, say, correcting these people? Look, these are the things I have to send this evening itself. How am I going to? And a small laughter commenting on your English, either spoken or say written. Do you want to have this in your life, in your career? At that time, you just think about, I'm not talking about, say, the real happenings, but just imagine how it affects your married life, your family life, your, say, social life, your official life. All just because of this negligence at this stage. That's why I told you, irrespective of the efforts taken by the Department of English, how many thousands of students on the IPS campus are inefficient in their communication in English. Do they make use of these things? Imagine this hall was full with 100 students. How happy would the department be, the HOD be? Okay, I'm sorry, we'll stop here. Now let us come back to this one. Straight, come. Now I would use the same picture in a primary class. At the primary class, I may be asking the students, okay, you just comment on, say, what is happening in the picture. But you are graduate students, so no more facts I need. In class 6 or 8, say one girl may be saying, say the river is all, say, dirty, the water is polluted. Okay, and look, the effluent from that factory is getting into water. A man is washing his, say, ox or bullock, like that. But they are facts. What I want you, working in pairs, is just to comment on what is going to happen to the surrounding population, villages, the people in the surrounding villages. What is going to happen after 10 years? Just write down what is going to happen after 10 years. This situation goes on. This situation goes on. Working in small groups, you please just note down and try to tell us, the class. Don't worry about making mistakes. Make mistakes, please. When you make mistakes, I am happy because you are doing something. After after 10 years, what could be the village? It may be a village. What could be the villagers like this? What could be the village like? Village, most of the AGE, EGE ending words, most of the, not all, AGE, EGE ending words in English. For the younger ones at home, your own younger, your own latest, age, village, college, mileage. Try to change simply. Most of the AGE, EGE ending words in English is to be pronounced ij. Earlier I pronounced the word, at that time I didn't ask you because I pronounced the word. Did you notice it? How that word was pronounced? When I was in class 5, first year of English, 1950s, my village teacher pronounced it as zero. I too sang it as zero. When I entered the high school, a high school teacher, I used to listen. The S changed into Z. Okay. My primary teacher taught me zero, and the high school teacher taught me zero. In Malayalam, we don't have Z. You have an approximate zamana in Hindi, but we don't have a Z, approximate Z in Malayalam. We have a S and we have Sh in Malayalam. We have Shiva, we have Saroja. Okay, in between, and we have Janaki also. But in between a Z we didn't have. Malayalis had problem. Anyway, I switched over to zero. Zero. Okay, I feel very proud. Then much later, I noticed one more change. What was it? Not one change, two changes. Zero. Not O ending, not O, but O. And the first one is not E, ear, here, ear, zero. Don't worry, need not be immediately, but understand, ZRO should be pronounced as zero. Whereas village, mileage, college, you change this evening itself. Zero, let it wait. Altogether, we need not change. Yeah. Now, work together, please. Don't work independently. This is language. Work together, discuss, and use a little English. I am not testing your knowledge. I want you to speak, work together. Please, English class must be noisy. Not silent. A little English, that's all.